All right, welcome everyone to our special masterclass session number 1, membership growth, being presented tonight by our very own Mary Morrison. Mary was enticed into Toastmasters during a Beat the Clock membership drive in 1998. Joining Toastmasters helped Mary's friend with a membership contest. Since then, she has served as Vice President Membership multiple times in multiple clubs. She's been a primary sponsor of more than 20 new members and a club coach or sponsor for a number of clubs. Mary knows that new members keep a club refreshed and members engaged. Please welcome Mary Morrison with Membership Campaigns.
Thank you so much, Karen. Really appreciate it. Love that you've all come tonight to learn a little bit more in our 4-part masterclass on membership. Beth Ramsey is Region Advisor for Region 1, and she's also going to be leading actually the rest of these sessions. I'll join you again tomorrow night. Hopefully you can make it to all of them, but I love that Karen is recording them for future use. Just by kind of a show of hands, and you can do this electronically or with your hand raised. How many of you, or your first visit to a club was because someone that you knew invited you? Okay, so if that's, how many of you did it because there was an open house and it was just something that you heard about and decided to attend? Okay. How many of you did it through like a find a club feature? All right, David. So tell me the others who haven't yet, how did you hear about or attend your first meeting? What was it?
Yeah. For me, it was Speechcraft. They did a Speechcraft.
Speechcraft. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And Deborah or Karen?
At work, we had an announcement of a demo meeting where they invited everyone to attend.
Okay. Louise, did you? Yeah.
I found out about Toastmasters when I was 17. But at that time, it was men only. So I wasn't old enough, had to wait. And then I got involved in all kinds of other stuff. And when someone came around the office and says, does anyone want to be in Toastmasters? Me. Well, I've been in 30 years now.
So was that somebody that you knew that invited you, or it was just kind of somebody that you'd never heard? It was just a general announcement. Okay.
They said Toastmasters.
They said Toastmasters.
That was the key.
The key. All right. And Jacob got strong armed. But now, Jacob, who strong armed you? How did that come about?
I had a friend who worked with the library, and in our conversation, she would talk about it, and she made it sound so fun and interesting. And she cornered me at the library with some paperwork and strong-armed me into it. But she made it sound so fun. She didn't have to strong-arm me. She didn't have to back me into the corner. But she made it sound really fun. Oh, I loved getting updates every week about it.
Oh, okay. So she kept you up enticing. And Alan, did we hear from you? How did you first hear?
Well, I've been out of Toastmasters for quite a few years. And when I retired and moved to Coeur d'Alene area, I just kind of Google searched for Toastmasters. I sort of knew what I'd be looking for.
Okay.
And made a lucky guess on the club that I eventually stayed with for like 8 years. But so just kind of taking the initiative and searching out the club.
Okay, so you had known of Toastmasters at some point, had been participant, and then
right.
Okay, terrific. So you can see the variety of ways. Just how many of us? 9 people. How many different ways the entry points that we come into Toastmasters. So I'm going to focus on a couple of them that might give you some ideas for your own clubs. And then, so I'll go quickly on one, just to touch this. One of the major ways that we often get people into Toastmasters as guests, and then from there to members, is through an open house. We're going to talk about that tomorrow night. That's the focus of tomorrow night. So I'm not going to spend any more time talking about an open house tonight, because there's a couple of other methods I want to go more in depth on. Sometimes I get a lot of guests in my clubs, a lot of contact in my clubs through Find a Club. And I heard from someone recently who connected with me through Find a Club. She had done her outreach to 8 clubs. Only 2 of us replied. 2 out of 8 clubs replied. And I know from chatting with Toastmasters, I'm not a big numbers person. I don't necessarily hold them in my head, but it's something like 25% of people who do Find a Club get a response. That means the clubs themselves aren't necessarily doing the job. And that's a real shame. And I'm not saying like lots and lots of people, when I respond to them right away, they don't necessarily come. But I had great success when I did a speechcraft a year or so ago and went back to some of those people and invited them to a speechcraft. And much to my surprise, a couple of them signed up for the speechcraft. And that was kind of exactly what they were looking for. So I just held on to that information. Even though they couldn't make it to a club meeting, they could make it to the speechcraft and gain experience that way. That really surprised me. So I hope to talk a little bit more about speechcraft. My first thing I'm going to chat about more, though, is 2 ways that we go about gaining new members. So I talked to Open House. We'll cover that more tomorrow night. These are membership campaigns, specifically like a club contest or an incentive, the use of an incentive to get your members to engage in inviting others. In my intro, I said it was my friend Sharon. My friend Sharon said to me, Mary, my club is having a membership campaign, a membership contest, and I'm on a team. And if I invite a guest, I get points for my team. Well, I'm a good friend of Sharon's. So I said, okay, Sharon, I'll help you win a contest. That was that social relationship I had with Sharon. So I went, and I was like, oh, that was interesting. But the next week she came back at me. She said, Mary, we're still having our membership camp contest, and I still get points if you come, and we're really close to winning. Well, again, I'm a good friend. And that week, one of my other coworkers had just joined, and she was getting her icebreaker. And it was hearing that icebreaker and everyone's encouragement of her that caused me to say yes when they made the ask with the application. I've done a lot of contests since then. So just a question, how many of you are in clubs where you have a membership contest like that, where you give incentives to members? Have you done that before? So Louise has, Deborah, okay. So you may chime in here if there's things that you also hear. We'll have some time after I'm kind of finished with this to gain your experiences, learn more from your experiences. The beauty of having some kind of an incentive for club members, I think this is really the secret to it all. It works that muscle that members need to continually invite others. We need to help our members practice inviting others to join them in Toastmasters. They may not actually, the guests may not actually join, they may not fill out the application, but it's really important to keep that skill up and let members know we rely on you. We rely on your networking. We rely on your ability to do your social media. We rely on you if sometimes it could be a flyer at the coffee shop to say, we're having this event, or come and join us at a Toastmaster meeting. I believe that if members keep using that muscle, that it engages them more in the club and lets them know this whole thing works because we collectively make it work. This isn't just the officer, the vice president membership that gets to do that. It's not just the club president that gets to do this. It's all of us that collectively bring in people that we might know through whatever means, through our networking, whatever that might look like. The most successful membership contests I have held are those in which I divide the club into teams. And I've done this different ways, different times of the year. It could be the cat team versus the dog team. It could be the types of sporting team that you may be popular in your area. One of mine we did one time was based on the Harry Potter, the houses in Harry Potter. And in that one, we actually had another club joined us. So it wasn't just my club that was participating, whether we were one of those 4 houses, but it was also the other club. And so we had a contest, inter-club contest, which was also kind of fun. In a contest like that, it really taps into people's motivations, no matter what their motivational incentive is. Here's how that works. So imagine you've got somebody who likes to be part of a team effort and go team go, really cheer them on. Dividing them into groups like that gives them that kind of camaraderie. Imagine you've got somebody who's so goal focused that they just want to win. They're very highly competitive. And if you set a goal of inviting 10 people in, they're going to try to achieve that goal or even beat it. Or if you give an incentive where you say you're tracking all the points and this team gets more points. This was like the Harry Potter beauty, right? Because if you know any, we're familiar with the Harry Potter stories, the houses collected points throughout the year. And at the end of the year, they got a big prize, a trophy or something. So you get bragging rights if you're part of a team that wins. If you like to just do for the common good of the whole, there it is. It's all laid out for you. You can't lose when you're part of a group that's collectively doing something for the good of the club, because any little effort you make will help everybody do something that contributes towards the good of the club. So if you've not done a contest or a campaign like that, where you use an incentive, in this case, when I talk about an incentive, sometimes for some people, it's just bragging rights. I can claim I got the most points. In my club, we had a healthy enough treasury that we could divide, I think it was, we gave a gift card. We, out of our club treasury, everybody got a $10 Starbucks card if they invited 5 people. If they joined, they got another card. Or we promoted them on it doesn't have to cost, we promoted them on the club website. One club, we put everybody's name into a drawing. So for every X number of people that you invited and they came, we put, you got, for every 10 people, say, you got your name into a drawing. At the end, we drew a name and the winner got a gift card. Well, it was a gift card at a place that I liked well enough that I just kept churning out names because I wanted to win that gift card. So, you could chat with your members about what might work, but those contests are pretty powerful. And again, the contest can divide the group into teams, or it could just be on an individual basis. That was also very successful one time when I was coaching a club, where they had, they said, for every person that you invite, we'll give you individual points. And it just the act of inviting, that builds the muscle. The act of inviting itself, even if it didn't end up generating the kind of results that you might hope at first, the fact that you're encouraging members and you're telling them, this is your responsibility, join us in this responsibility, makes a huge difference. So I think that to me is the real benefit and value of having some kind of a campaign or a contest where you're really asking people to do the outreach for the club. You could have this as an ongoing campaign all year long, or you could just make it you could do it during those 3 membership campaign cycles that Toastmasters has. We are still in the midst of Talk Up Toastmasters just ended the end of February. So the next one is Beat the Clock. That starts May 1 and runs through June. That was when I I did mine. I was part of Beat the Clock. My membership started May 1. I didn't know that for years. I finally figured it out. Interesting that Deborah mentioned Speechcraft. I love Speechcraft. And Speechcraft can be a very powerful tool, especially when your club hosts it. And you use Speechcraft, which if you don't know anything about that, it's a 4, 6, or 8 week program where it's an introduction to Toastmasters. People give anywhere from 2 to 6 speeches. And then when they join, if they join a club after Speechcraft is over, they end up getting credit through level 1, level 2, and I think there's a speech or 2 in level 3 that they can get credit for. It's pretty powerful. If they come to your club, if you host, your club hosts it, and they come to your club meeting for X number of weeks, not only have you done a really good job introducing Toastmasters to them, but you've kind of seen that this is something that will fit into their schedule. That's why I love Speechcraft. It is a wonderful introduction to Toastmasters, and it helps you know this is a person that will really commit. So it can be a more committed club member. Look at Deborah. She has been a very committed Toastmaster member for many years. Yeah. So that's my varied ways. We didn't talk about just having a demo meeting. Now, the demo meeting, I'm assuming it was for like the formation of a new club. Okay, so just the invitation to that, which can also be very powerful. And when you think about that, that's almost a like an open house where you really want to put on a good show for that. But a demo meeting, if you haven't been to those, people have not been to a demo meeting, that's what the first meeting when you want to form a brand new club. We have what we call demo meetings. I think we're covering, are we covering those, Beth? Not, I don't think so, not in this one, yeah. So we have the open house, you'll hear more about that tomorrow night, kind of contest or campaign that has some kind of an incentive for club members, Speechcraft, which is an introduction to Toastmasters. You can have an ongoing campaign, especially one that where you ask members to do a lot of publicity, the contest is kind of an ongoing campaign. It could be short-term single event, or it can be something that's ongoing. Every month you could do something different tied into some kind of theme that you want. And the other way members come in is the Find a Club, which I think David mentioned that he did that through Find a Club. I get so I'm in a couple of different clubs, but I think I get tapped for membership for 2 of the clubs I'm in. I probably get an average of 1 request a week, which is always follow through on that. If you get those, check with your VP membership see how they're doing. If they need help, you can always step in and ask them if they need help to get close the loop on anybody who's using that Find a Club feature. In fact, you might want to, if you're a club officer, check to make sure that your information, your contact information is updated. So people are getting the accurate information when they hit Find a Club, and it's not going to somebody who's not a member of your club any longer or is really unresponsive. Any officer can go in and change who the contact person is for Find a Club. And you really want it to be somebody who's pretty responsive in your club. You don't want to lose those contacts. That's my information I really wanted to share with you tonight. I'd love to open it for questions, your experiences, what else you might have to share. David.
Thank you, Mary. Could you restate the statistic you shared at the beginning about people that were using Find a Club and then it was only 2 hits out of something? I want to share that with my team.
Right. So this was my recent experience. Somebody who had contacted me said she had contacted 8 clubs, and out of the 8 clubs, only 2 of us responded.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to double check on that with our club. I think we're running it pretty tight, but I'm going to double check.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saddened to hear that. Yeah. Yes, Deborah.
As I recall at mid-year training a few years ago back in Dallas, they mentioned, Dan Rex, I think, mentioned that that was one of the studies they'd done, and that was a big reveal that many clubs were not responsive to that Find a Club.
Yeah.
Does everybody know where to update their club information to make sure it's accurate? Everybody knows it's on Club Central. It's been a long time since I've been a club officer because I've been district and above, but it's Club Central and then somewhere in there, information or club data or I
Yeah,
don't remember exactly where it
contact.
is, but that would be a good idea to double check that because we've moved, we've gone to Zoom, we've gone back in person, we've got,
Mhm.
make sure.
Yeah. Other questions, comments, your experiences? Louise?
There's
Mary-
also individual recognition. Excuse me?
Yeah, Louise first, and then I'll come back to you, Alan.
Okay, sounds good.
There's also individual incentives, you might say. And I didn't realize how much Toastmaster keeps track of them. But over the 30 years, I've been recruiting a lot of people for Toastmasters to the tune of 9 a year.
Wow, excellent. So when you say Toastmasters tracks it, you mean when people actually join on the application, there's that little line that says, who is your sponsor?
I
And-
don't give away applications unless it has my name on it.
there
That's
you
right. You got to
Yeah.
watch your VPM, man. If you brought people in, you got to make sure that VPM puts your name on it. And
go. Yeah. You can pre-fill those parts of those applications, and that really helps
Mhm.
potential members out, putting in your club name and its number and filling in the dues portion or having at least a backup for the dues. So you can know what it is depending on the month that they join. And then you fill in your name. You're the sponsor, your name and your member number. And you're right, they do track it. I can
They
go
give
back
you-
and see all the members I've sponsored.
Yeah.
Yep.
They give you a 5-member pin,
Uh-huh.
a 10-member pin, which is a little bit bigger. And then the last one used to be a tie or a scarf.
Oh,
But
I've never gotten a
unfortunately,
pin, and
they
I've sponsored over
eliminated
10
that
people.
and put it as like a 15% discount on the store from
Okay.
Toastmasters. One year, I had gotten my 15 and package came and I ripped it open and everything, and I pull it out and it's a tie. And I'm thinking, why am I getting a tie? And so I went back and looked at the packaging, and they had dropped one letter on my name. And
Oh,
Louise becomes Lewis. So I called Toastmasters and I says, I really appreciate getting this incentive and everything, but it's a tie. And she says, well, yeah, you get that when you do 15. And she said, oh, wait a minute. Your name is Louise. And I says, yeah, what do I do with the tie now? And I was looking for the scarf. And she says, the scarf is on its way. And I says, well, do I keep the tie? And she
Okay,
said,
I feel gypped. I'm telling you, I've sponsored over 10 people and I haven't gotten diddly squat, nothing. I'm gonna call and say, hey, Louise or Lewis, pick one, sent me.
they aren't doing it anymore.
I know. I think they're doing the pins still, but it's been a while.
Yeah,
since
the
I've-
2 pins are still
pins,
going
yeah.
on.
I have not. Yeah. So Alan
And-
had something he wanted to add.
I've had a couple of thoughts on Speechcraft. Our club, Talk the Town, did their last Speechcraft. It's been many years ago. But we had kind of a positive, negative thing. And I just wanted to mention the negative is that one of our members, one of our long-term members, got really indignant about the fact that we're spending so much time working with the speech crafters that we postponed other members doing their speeches and progressing in the program so that we could get we had like 7 people sign up for Speechcraft. So we had a fairly large group, but we didn't really take in consideration that maybe we needed to have all buy-in from every member, that they're willing to step back a little bit and help the speech crafters. I think it was for like 7 weeks, something like that, 6 or 7 weeks.
So Alan, you did Speechcraft during your normal,
We did,
Meeting, club
did.
meeting? Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Because I've helped with Speechcraft, but it was a separate, whole nother day.
I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, just because we didn't want to tick off any more of our members about that. But-
Sure.
And
That's
probably if we would have
interesting.
talked to the membership ahead of time, they may have got a better idea of what
Yeah.
we were trying to do with that.
Perhaps you could have countered that with a speechathon. We're having a day with all speeches with.
Oh, that's
Very
true. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
I-
a good thing.
I think you bring up a really good point. You do have to be really mindful of the kind of effort it takes your club to put on a speechcraft. And I am all for having it as part of your meeting. I've done it both ways. I found that having it part of the club meeting really gave us a sense that these were people for whom our club meeting could fit into their schedule. But you're absolutely right. None of us actually knew what we were doing when we started it.
Same with
So
that.
we had a hard time kind of explaining to club members what it was, but we did say basically we're going to suspend the regular club meetings for a period of weeks, but there would be speaking opportunities for people. It may not fit into their specific progression for what they anticipated, but there were plenty of speaking opportunities because we relied on club members to give all the presentations that were there. But yeah, it's nice to have that club support.
So Alan, out of those 7 guests who came and did Speechcraft, how many of them joined the club?
I hated that. I knew that question would come up.
You knew, I'm waiting.
We lost 6 of the 7 when they finished the program
Mhm.
for various reasons, but and we kept 1 out of the 7. So we had, I guess, a gain of 1, but we lost 1 too, I might mention. So it's kind of sort of balanced
Oh,
out.
that was like a 0. Yeah.
But in thinking about it and talking to our leadership team afterwards, when we realized that we'd lost most of the people who were in that program, is that we never really thought a lot about retaining them, in the sense that throughout the process that we'd be working to make them feel more involved, more engaged, looking down the road to when they become regular members. I don't think we really put a lot of attention on that part of it. And in hindsight, we should have done that more. Just looked at kind of a holistic approach, that we don't want them just to do Speechcraft. We want them to be a part of the club indefinitely. But yeah, the outcome wasn't too good.
But
Well,
those are good insights, though. Those are really
Yeah.
good insights. I'm writing them down, actually.
And even if it didn't result in an increase in club membership, again, to me, exposing your club members, helping them see that there are different ways people experience Toastmasters is invaluable. Getting them to step into a more of a leadership role, doing some of the guide work or the mentoring that Speechcraft requires. I just think those are invaluable experiences for your club.
Yeah.
So it's not always about the number of members. We actually did one Speechcraft where we reached out to a nonprofit. There was a manager at a fairly small local nonprofit who had over the years recommended a lot of people come to Toastmasters, and they had joined. So I knew she would be very receptive to Speechcraft. When I contacted her, she signed up 6 of her team members to participate in the Speechcraft, which was a great service to them. None of them joined the club I was in. I think 1 or 2 of them joined a different club that worked better for them. But I thought it was a wonderful public relations event for Toastmasters to share for a small nonprofit to have for the price, I think, was $15 or $20 we charged per person for that professional development opportunity for their staff members. It was invaluable. Yeah, David.
My club up in Sandpoint did a Speechcraft promotion, And we ended up having to cancel it in the heart of the COVID period
Mm.
for obvious reasons. And just last week, we had 2 women attend that were from the company here in town that saw our notice, were planning on attending, and then lost track of us. And so much to your point, Mary, is it's one way, shape, or form, it does help promote the club. And we'll see next if we convert them into membership.
Yeah. If you're thinking about it at all, it's a wonderful way also to do your any one of your team projects and pathways or a high performance leadership project.
Yeah.
To organize a speechcraft.
That's a good point.
Any other ways that you could think of or that you've known where you've had membership campaigns have been successful? Tips that you've picked up? Yeah, Louise.
We did one membership drive called Hog Wild. And people were hoping, we were hoping that they would be hog wild about Toastmasters. Well, I'm a baker and I happen to have a little pig cookie cutter. So we featured those at our meeting. And I was also the PR person. So we featured a lot of little pigs on it, and I come out of your pen, come join Toastmasters, and just kind of catchy statements. And we had split the club into 2 teams, and the losing team had to buy pizza for the rest of them. Now it wound up that there wasn't that much competition because they would give their points away to other people so that they would have some points.
Oh,
And everyone pitched in to buy the pizza at the end, but it created teamwork
yeah,
because they were interested in doing it.
yeah. That's why I'm a huge fan of trying to do at least one membership to that type of contest a year because of the way it really pushes people a little bit more. And for when you've got a small club, it's an injection of a different kind of energy that the club typically needs. Because you get so comfortable with each other. I don't know. I'm in a club that meets weekly, and there's 10 or 12 of us, and great. We're all used to just jumping in and doing a roll every week, and we get so comfortable with that. And then some guest comes, and we're like, what do we do? What? So I try to get them to see that, we always should kind of act like it's an open house to that extent, that we're always ready for guests. We're not fumbling around having to apologize as though we're awkwardly like, oh, I didn't expect company today. Let me pick up my house. Yeah. So any other? All right. Beth, comments that you would like to say? Anything that you'd like to add? Any preview of tomorrow night? Oh, let's unmute you.
There you go. Preview tomorrow night is wonderful, open houses and different ideas. And I would love for you all to come and share your ideas on what has worked, because that's something that can get stale if we're not careful, or like Mary said, we're getting caught with not really being prepared. So that we're going to talk about that for a short time. But I actually, talking about the things tonight, I had forgotten some. I'm taking notes because I had forgotten some of the things about membership drives and all that, because it's been a long time since I've done that at the club level. So this was a nice refresher for me, Mary, and everybody. Thank you.
Yeah. I often wonder when we do the officer training, we spend so little time on this aspect of the vice president membership. And I think that's too bad, because it's worth a 30-minute by itself to chat about it and get people some ideas and share ideas.
I teach
Karen,
that class.
What was that, Louise?
I teach that class, and one of the things I say is the first thing, form a team.
Yes, form a team. Yep, I agree. Karen, I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, everyone who has attended tonight. Some of you had troubles with the links, and I apologize for that. I'm not sure what's going on. Some of the places where I posted, it's worked just fine. Other places, it takes you to an error page. Please spread the word to your fellow members, wherever they might be, that the links on the district website calendar do work, and the links in the Region 1 Facebook page do work. I will go and verify what's going on the District 9 Facebook page and Facebook group to test those to see if those work at all and fix them if I can.
Karen, can you drop them into chat right now to see if anybody,
Yeah,
the next three?
I will do that.
yeah, and share. Come and visit.
Yes, so for
Grab a
tomorrow
cuppa.
night, the link is in the chat. Oops, make sure it goes to everybody. This is for session 2, which is tomorrow night.
That's awesome.
Session 3 is right here.
Yes, session 2 is open houses, session 3 is closing the sale, and session 4 are unique ideas for running club meetings.
And session 4 is now posted in the chat.
That's pretty good that I remembered this at 10:45 at night. That was
I
good. I
am
remembered that. I
impressed.
didn't have a cheat sheet. I just remembered
I'm
that. So
impressed.
you should be, by golly.
So closing the sale, how many of you remember that? I think it's a successful club. Have you done the closing the sale one? That's a very powerful tool that I think, again, is underused. And I don't know that Beth is going to go through the module specifically, but getting
In here.
that's Jacob.
There we go.
But,
Is he
but
holding
getting-
hostages again?
I think so, yeah. But getting your club members again used to finding the right language that they're comfortable with, to be able to ask people to join, get that application completed. That's really important. So yeah, covering
Have
that
the applications
Wednesday.
there. I went to an open house one time and nobody thought to bring applications.
Yeah,
That hurt me.
that's a cringe moment.
That was a cringe moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
So all right, excellent. Hope to see some of you tomorrow night.
Yay.
All right. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you, everyone.
you
Have a
all.
good night.
Okay, wait, we're